What is up, everybody? It's Sunday. It's earlier on Sunday. Rusty, fish are biting around here, dude. There is so much going on right now. This is the Georgia Show. I'm Jake Rowe. This is Rusty Mansell. College football playoff stuff. Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC championship game. It is wild. But before we get to that, Brunt Workwear, Rusty, one of our biggest sponsors, one of our favorite sponsors, and we love them all. Brunt is awesome. And Jake Roos and I have told you about this over and over again. Rusty's got a pair. We got a pair. It is tremendous. Check these out. These are awesome. I wear them all the time. I wear them around the house. I put them on. They've kind of become my slippers around here. I do yard work in them, but I just kind of slip them on just to wear around the house because they have that much support. I'm telling you, man, work boots should not be this comfortable. And, listen, choosing work boots used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. If they felt good, they didn't last. And if they lasted, they wrecked your feet. Brunt thought that was BS. So they built tough boots that feel great from day one. No break-in, no sore feet, because people out there doing real work shouldn't have to choose between comfort and durability. Check out Brunt as soon as you possibly can and save $10 by using code DawgsHQ. Use DawgsHQ, save $10 on your Brunt workwear boots, and I guarantee you will not be upset. You will not be unsatisfied. You'll love them. They're fantastic. I can attest. I wear mine all the time. And listen, I'm not somebody that goes out on the construction site, Rusty. I don't have to do that kind of thing, but I throw them on all the time. Plus, also when I put them on, I think if I was a recruit with my Brunt workwear boots on, you could probably get me in at 6 feet. It's probably like 5'11" and a half, but I put them on the other day, and my wife was like, I always wondered what it'd be like to be married to somebody that's 6 feet tall, and they get me there, so I'm pretty excited with them.
My future son-in-law stole mine, so Brunt, if you would, send me another pair, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, man.
And he loves them, and I asked him, I said, if you're going to take them, I need a report back, and last 2 times I've seen him, he's had them on, and he wears them to ball games and everything, so I have no problem standing on the table for him.
Brunt Workwear, DawgsHQ, save $10 with that code right there. Like I said, you'll love them. Rusty, speaking of putting in the work, Georgia gave the work to Alabama, 28-7. I need you to tell people, I don't normally do this, I need to tell you people what I told you when I got to the press box on Saturday.
So we sit down and, we get, obviously me and you, we're early guys. We don't get to tailgate, do all the fun stuff. So we're there probably 3 hours before kickoff. Now, Mercedes-Benz is a little different because you got TV monitors right in front of your workstation. It's world-class facility. There's TVs everywhere, so you can get in. You got food. You can watch the game before. You can settle in. And we're just sitting there, and you said, I ain't told anybody else other than the person I'm married to what I'm about to tell you. And I said, well, this is not going to be good, but go ahead and give it to me. And he said, I think Georgia's about to put one on Alabama today. And I said, Jake, that's a pretty strong statement, my man. But, yeah, that's exactly what you said. And not only you said that about 1 o'clock yesterday. And I was like, oh, boy. And I've worked with you many, many years. I don't know that you've ever said that to me. I mean, you'll come up and say, hey, Georgia's going to find a way to win this one. They got to do that. But you were pretty adamant yesterday. You said, Rusty, I think Georgia's about to put one on Alabama. And damn if they didn't.
They did. And, I'll say this too now. I've got to call myself out on something. We make our rounds there on the sideline before the game. We start talking to people, and I start talking to people about this guy and that guy. And, somebody told me, they say, hey, Ja'Cory Thomas, he's going to play, but I don't even know if he's going to be able to finish this game. He's real banged up. He's a lot more banged up than people think he is. And I think we're going to end up having to play at least 1 or 2 freshmen in the secondary. I did not feel quite as good about that pick as I did going into the game. Like when I told you that, I wanted to back off of it, but I was like, there ain't no harm in sticking to it. I'm going to stick to it. And, I chose 24-21 a little bit out of a poetic justice going into the game. That was my official pick on our site. And obviously that was a cover. But I mean, 28-7, Rusty. And it was Georgia who forced the issue. It was Georgia who got the turnover over into Alabama territory right there near midfield. It was Georgia who got the block punt. It was Georgia who got the turnover on downs and the 24-yard punt return. Georgia made all those things happen finally in this ball.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those, hey, tip ball here, tip ball there. You go back, and I've said it here, said it every podcast I did last week. These games come down to 3 or 4 plays typically. You go back and you look at the 4th down play in the first game. You look at a drop pass in the first game. The inability to get off. A couple of 3rd down plays. It's still strange to say, man, but that game was never really in doubt. No. I mean, it never was, and even at halftime, it was funny because it's 14-0 at halftime, and you run into people in the media area, and nobody that covers Georgia wanted to really say anything.
Nobody.
Don't say, trust me, we've seen this before. This thing is far from over, but I think, Georgia.
2017, I don't mean to talk over here, but that 2017 SEC championship game was 13-0 at the half.
Yeah, 13-0. And kind of the same pattern there. Alabama just couldn't get anything going offensively with Jalen Hurts. I mean, they had Jalen Hurts dialed in. The rest of the story is history, but kind of a similar situation where Georgia was dominant. They feel like, to me, they were one step ahead defensively. Just one of those deals. But when Georgia scored early in the 3rd quarter, I thought, man, they're in freaking good shape. Then you start thinking, okay, is this about to get out of hand? And is Alabama about to get booted out of the playoffs? That was kind of the second half storyline was never, to me, like Alabama's going to come back and win this thing. I'm like, can they get this close enough to be respectful? Couple of costly penalties on that drive, or they don't score. In my opinion, they don't score yesterday. So just a dominant performance by Georgia. And they just keep getting better, man, especially on defense. These young guys, they're just getting better and better and better. And what Glenn Schumann's doing, he took his lumps early in the year. He damn sure did. But Georgia's defense right now, man, they are scary good playing together.
Yeah, and I want to say something about that touchdown drive. I was a little bit worried about that drive because of the way it happened. Georgia helped them so much with 30 yards worth of penalties. And then the tip ball that the guy catches in stride and turns into a pretty decent play. I'm like, dang, that's the kind of stuff that
ain't no doubt
can kind of get you back in a ball game. And then Georgia misses 2 big tackles on Jeremy Bernard. Yeah, my thinking on that drive up until the touchdown was like, make them use clock. Like continue to make them use clock. Let them make them use a couple more minutes to get this ball in the end zone, and then you feel a lot better about it. Then the offense comes out and they're unable to kind of move the sticks. I like the 2 plays that got them the first down. And then, I didn't like Nate Frazier not touching the ball on that drive at all. Like if you're in 5 plays, Nate doesn't touch him at all, especially with him being kind of the catalyst for the offense. But going back to early in the game, Rusty, I look back, I watched that game on Skycast and I've watched it on the television copy, every play. And the thing that I came away with was that Gabe Harris squaring Ty Simpson up on that second drive. Yep. There was something about the energy that brought the team. And then Georgia comes in with a block punt after that. I almost feel like that was kind of it. That was almost like you remember that 2008 Florida game when Brandon Spikes hits Noshawn Moreno, and it was like they're here. They are absolutely here, and that was the announcement that Georgia was like wasn't backing down. They were in it to win it. And
or Ellis Robinson on that first 3rd down, he comes up and run support. Yeah. And it's third and 3. They come at his side. He comes up, sticks the dude, tackle. And they get off the field on the first drive of the game. That was another big play.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can kind of pull from that game. I'll get to the fact that it wasn't a complete game in a minute. But, Rusty, have you ever seen a wide receiver pull on a run play? I've never seen London Humphreys pulls on a run play, kicks out a cornerback, and Nate Frazier walks into the end zone. That was a big call right there in that game to go up 21-0.
Yeah, I sat in Kirby's press conference. I don't know if you've actually watched it yet. You got the quotes, but they brought that up. And they actually brought up Cole Spear. And what a story if you haven't heard. Cole Spear, who blocked the punt yesterday, kid out of Calhoun, Georgia, who doesn't play a ton. He's just one of these gritty program guys. And, he said that Cole Spear stood up and talked to the team on Friday. And then he started talking about London Humphreys. He goes, guys, London Humphreys just made a block on a touchdown. And he goes, the guy's light in the pants. And we got him out there blocking in space, man. And it was a heck of a play. I've never seen that play from that to have a you basically ran a counter in behind a freaking lead wide receiver. And he did his job. Me and you showed me on the replay on the Skycast you had going. I was like, good God, I've never seen that. I've seen backside tight ends pull. Yeah. But you see Delp and Lucky and those guys do it all the time. But to have London Humphreys do it, and Kirby talks about the buy-in from this program and kids like that do things, and what a just kind of where Georgia is right now, man. Things like that.
I want to go ahead and hit this real quick because we are a little bit pressed for time today. Not a complete game still. Worst penalty game of the season for Georgia.
Yeah, man.
7 for 80 yards.
7 for 80, yep.
Yeah. Georgia's had 7 penalties in a game 2 other times this year. They have not had as many as 80 yards in a game. So 7 is tied for the team high. 80 is the most they've had this year. And listen, Gunner was better yesterday than he was against Tech. Gunner was still not as good as he was against Texas, against Ole Miss, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi State, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we're still not playing our best ball at quarterback right now if you're Georgia, if you're Gunner Stockton. But I'll say this, man, and this is one thing Georgia has been tremendous at this football season. Gunner is balling in the red zone. He is. I mean, Georgia is now number 2 in the country in getting touchdowns in the red zone, 79.25%. Only NC State is better at a little over 80%. It's the best red zone offense Kirby Smart's ever had by far. The previous 2 best were right around 70%, and that was last year in 2017. So Gunner has been tremendous in the red zone this year. And again, touchdown pass to Dylan Bell. Even the curl route to get Georgia down there in position, Gunner showed some flashes of seeing it quick and going after it. He also pulled a couple down that I felt like he should have hit, and so that's something that I think a lot of things play into that. The whole idea that, hey, don't turn the ball over. Be careful with the football. I think that gets in your head sometimes. I think, Malachi Tolliver, who more than held his own yesterday and probably deserves a game ball, to be honest with you. Going to get beat sometimes, and he sure did, but more than held his own. They getting comfortable with him. You're missing Colby Young. Not Colby Young. You're missing him too, but you're missing Noah Thomas.
Yep.
Who's credited with 1 play, but I never saw him in there at all. And then also, ultimately, I have a hard time believing Gunner's fully healthy. And nobody is this time of year. So you're hurting. You got a little of this, got a little of that. Couple weeks to work on this to get himself back in the kind of the shape. And not only that, Rusty, and we'll get to this in a little bit. Good chance he's going to be playing a team he's got a lot of confidence in playing that he torched the last time he played them. So it'd be interesting to see if he's able to kind of get back to that. But ultimately, Georgia's still kind of searching to play its best ball. But I'm still not worried about 14 because I know I've already seen him lift Georgia when the defense wasn't playing well. And I'm telling you, if they can get him playing well with the defense playing the way it's playing right now, man, watch out. Georgia's really good. Really good.
Yeah, I think he missed some throws yesterday. I was elevated, and a couple of times, man, you just got to drive it in there. I mean, windows are going to be tight, and I think that's what made Stetson Bennett so good. I mean, he would throw in a tight window. I think a couple of times yesterday, Gunner checked it down. I also think a couple of times that Gunner threw some really good balls, and I think that he just got this grittiness about him, man. His toughness about him. The ball he threw to Dylan Bell on the crossing route for the back of the touchdown was the best ball he threw yesterday. I mean, he had to go through his progressions. Dylan Bell wasn't the first guy. He had to go through his progressions and get that. I think he got some help yesterday. And listen, I don't care if it's help or not. You got to get the ball in number one's hands. They throw a freaking 2-yard route over there, and my man put that thing in 5th gear and rolled into the end zone. You talking about explosive. Did you see who it was? Miko Hardman, Ty Hill, all those guys like this guy's faster than me, man. he put his foot in the ground yesterday. Holy smokes, man.
Yeah, he put a move on that guy that was unblocked and kind of got him inside of another block and then busted it back outside and he was gone. Kind of went from 0 to 100 as fast as he could. Roderick Robinson steps up. I mean, what a hallmark of a Kirby team to have somebody like Roderick Robinson catch the opening touchdown of the SEC championship game. There's all this talk about, and I know why. We all know why. Yeah, he's gone after this year. He's done. He's checked out. He's this, he's that. And then next thing you know, you got Zero catching a touchdown pass in one of the biggest games of the year. If there's something else that's Kirby Smart and vintage kind of what his teams do, I'd like to see it because that's very much kind of what his teams are all about. Rusty, college football playoffs here, and we're about to talk about it, but it's also Modelo season. Some things in life are just made for each other. There's peanut butter and jelly, macaroni and cheese, and Modelo and college football, and specifically the college football playoff. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, it means you live and breathe football all season long. You know what that makes you, a full-time fan, and it means you deserve a Modelo. If you had to live through that first 20 minutes of that college football selection show today, you deserve a Modelo. I believe that with all my heart because, boy, oh boy, did I not want to hear from anybody that had anything to say about why they should be in the playoff after the playoff had already been selected. Okay, so that is neither here nor there. But because football wouldn't be the same without you, Modelo's official beer of college football and the college football playoff. And if you're going to one of these playoff games, you'll be able to enjoy an ice cold one. And y'all should do one. And cheers to DawgsHQ in the process because we love some Modelo here and we appreciate them for supporting the Georgia show. Rusty, Georgia's headed back to the Sugar Bowl. They're going to play the winner of Ole Miss and Tulane. I kind of like the draw. If I had to pick another SEC team for Georgia to play, it would probably be Texas A&M. It would, but on the flip side, Kirby Smart moved to 4-0 yesterday in in-season rematches since he's become head coach. Auburn in 17, Alabama in 21, Texas last year, and Alabama again this year. So I like Kirby in a rematch, but you've got two teams that have head coaches that have got other jobs. Or I guess I guess not technically for Ole Miss. Pete Golding will be coaching that team. It'll be his first game as a head coach, and then they've also got they have to play Tulane. They play Tulane, and we'll see how that kind of works out. But I feel like in some ways there's an advantage to being 3 as opposed to 10. Because without a shadow of it, not without a shadow of a doubt, but about 90% certainty what team you're preparing for in the next game. And it's probably going to be Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss whipped Tulane. Well, they whipped them pretty good the first game, I think. And listen, Kirby Smart's going to leave no stone unturned. I can assure you that. He'll have a group of guys working on Tulane. They'll have an advanced scouting report on Ole Miss. They've got plenty of time to dig into that. So, it's not going to be – they'll be ready for either one. You do probably anticipate Ole Miss. The good thing about Ole Miss and Tulane, if they do any type of wrinkles, you'll see a little bit here or there. Well, Charlie Weiss it's the same offense they've ran, so you're not going to expect a ton of difference. Preparation, Lane in game. Lane in-game calling, man, is pretty damn good, and that's why Georgia had fits with him. He's not there. I would say this: if Georgia kept every single guy on the staff and they went to New Orleans without Kirby Smart, you would probably be worried as a Georgia fan. How's this product going to look? And it's going to be. I anticipate it being Ole Miss. I think everybody's you and I have a conversation because we're on the business side of it, but you have people texting going, oh, no. I think everybody kind of anticipated that Georgia was going to be in Atlanta. You're going to play Ohio State in Atlanta, and all of a sudden they go, if Georgia winds up getting there, if Ohio State winds up getting there, that game is going to be in Tempe, Arizona in January. So you got to win one before that, and you got to take care of business. But I do on that side of it, I anticipate Georgia with a rematch in one of the best football games. It took all 4 quarters to win that game. So you could imagine that Ole Miss will have a chip on their shoulder, and they'll probably play loose. And we'll see if it comes to Georgia Ole Miss, but that's what I anticipate as well.
Yeah, and you know, kind of a subheading to this whole thing, Rusty, is the fact that you returned to New Orleans, where Mr. Sonny Spark passed away last year, and had the whole incident that went on there, and then you had the incident that happened on New Year's Eve, and there was there was a lot, man, that happened there, and then obviously that game gets pushed back. It was a weird time. Georgia ends up losing that game. He couldn't block a soul. I really think, though, you look at this team and, there was a lot of chatter about Alabama being beat up going into yesterday's game, and God knows they were. They were absolutely beat up. No LT Overton, no Kelby Collins, no Jam, and I don't know if he'll be back by the time they play again or not. I have my doubts, but I hope he's back. I hope he's able to come back this season. He came back this season to finish it out, and I hope he's able to do that for his sake. These guys work real hard, and I don't root against any of them. But Georgia's also really banged up. Georgia played without two more starters yesterday.
Joe Malaguero.
Yeah. So you add those two to Drew Bobo, Colby Young, Jordan Hall, all of that stuff. And we'll say
that was the first thing Kirby said in the press conference. He goes, "Look, guys, I mean, our Jeremy Johnson's the one asking the question about the guys and being injured." And he said, "Look, guys, do y'all realize that both of these teams right here tonight, they're beat to hell? This is the 9th SEC game, basically, for both of us. And next year, whoever's in this building, it will be their 10th SEC game, these two teams."
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no question that Bama was beat up, but Georgia was beat up. I'll say this. The difference in that game last night had nothing to do with injuries. It had to do with Georgia's defensive line absolutely dominating that football game, and they got after Alabama's offensive line. They had all their guys over there, and they got beat up. And I don't think any Alabama fans will argue that. I don't know what's going on. I don't follow Alabama every day. Typically, you don't see that, but it wasn't one guy. They got flat out whipped up front by Georgia.
No doubt about it, man. And this is kind of listen, this team really responded and they really got it done. They earned themselves a chance to the Sugar Bowl, which is huge. I do think it was pretty interesting. One, I'll say this on the Kirby comments about the 9-game SEC schedule. If Kirby was like, if I was like Kirby's right-hand man, if I was Steve Drummond, as far as the communications part of it or football ops guy, and he said, "Hey, I'm thinking about mentioning this 9th game in the press conference," I would advise him not to, because he's not going to change it by what he's saying in the press conference. And all these other leagues, all it does is throw gas on the fire of them being like, "We play 9 games every year." It doesn't matter what Caleb Downs says about admitting that the SEC is tougher than the Big Ten. It doesn't matter. Everybody's going to turn to the fact that they play 9 league games too, even though those 9 league games include teams like Purdue and Northwestern and those type squads. It's not going to change anything, so don't give them any ammo. But at the same time, it's the truth. I mean, it's that's now you go to 9 games, you may dodge 1 or 2 of the toughest teams in the league. But when you go to 9 games, you're not going to always dodge that many. Somebody's going to end up having to play 4 of the 5 of the 5 top teams in the league. And it's going to be really tough to make a playoff on that whenever they're treating it like standings. How many losses you have as opposed to who you beat and when you beat them and how you beat them and the eyeball test and all that stuff. So, the resumes seem to be taking a little bit of a back seat right now. And, that's kind of a tough look. But at the same time, I feel like you just give them a little ammo. Also, when you kind of look at that game yesterday, the D-line, the way the defensive line responded, the way Georgia rushed the quarterback, how many hits they got on Ty Simpson, forward into potential rematch with Ole Miss. Georgia's defense is in a much different spot right now than it was when they played the first time. They were searching the first time. They found something at least this time around, and I'm interested to see kind of how that plays out. And I thought it was interesting how Kirby, when he spoke to ESPN earlier today, he mentioned that layoff a couple times. Like, I would bet that they kind of, not that they managed it poorly last year, but I would bet that they do a few things differently and try to learn from what they did last year as far as layoff. And they'll probably decide that here in the next couple of days, as far as how they're going to practice, how they're going to manage it, try to stay fresh, try to stay loose and in the flow of things.
Would it shock you that I talked to someone on the sideline yesterday, and I said, "You already have the schedule set, win or lose." And they go, "Oh yeah, Kirby had it. That was tuned in. Everything was turned in last Wednesday."
Wow.
So the players know, win or lose, this is what to expect. You know, I think everybody's off for most of the part. They got finals this week. Several players took finals Friday, so I kind of know where they were, but. Yeah, Georgia wasn't going to come in today and meet and go, okay, we're playing here. Let's figure this out. I mean, that dude is freaking one step ahead, man, always, and kind of demanding. And I talked to a staffer yesterday, just a Georgia staffer, not an on the field guy. I'll leave it at that. And I asked him, I said, what's it like in there with Kirby? And he just said, look, man, you better know what's going on. Whatever you're responsible for, and this guy calls on you and that staff meeting, you do not want to have the wrong answer. I can assure you that. So I just kind of chuckled at that. And he said, I keep my head down. And when I'm talked to, I make sure I have what I'm responsible for. And that's it. So that guy he is the CEO of the University of Georgia football program. And there is zero doubt on that.
I had another P5 coach tell me one time, the assistant coach told me that the head coach's job is to make sure everybody does their job. And that's the number one job of that person. Make them do their job and set that expectation and set up the kind of guardrails to make sure everything gets done. And, Kirby's elite at that. He's absolutely elite at that. Who else is elite is our man, Andy Ludicky over at myperfectfranchise.net. Listen, if you are a displaced corporate executive, if you're the kind of person you've saved and you want to get yourself into the, kind of tap into an entrepreneurial spirit, check in with a man over at Andy Ludicky over at myperfectfranchise.net. He can help you realize your American dream. He can get you in the right fit. And as Ruth says all the time, this is not like franchise restaurants, fast food, anything like that. This is a wide array of different types of franchises he can hook you up with, and he can help you get involved and take your life and your future and your earnings into your own hands. Go to myperfectfranchise.net. There's no cost to you, and Andy will offer his services to you in consultation and expertise. He's got it. Go get it. Andy Ludicky, myperfectfranchise.net. Rusty, let's hit on this real quick before we get out of here. Did the college football playoff get it right?
No.
In your opinion?
No.
What should they have done?
Well, let me say this. With what was expected of them today, with what I would say restrictions they have, Alabama playing an SEC championship, because listen now, if that had been Georgia yesterday going through that gauntlet and they lose that game, you want to be rewarded because you earned that spot into that game. That is an earned spot. The other thing is, do I think Notre Dame is better than Miami? Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, Jake, head-to-head has got to matter. And somebody said on TV today, if that doesn't matter, then quit scheduling those games and just play the cupcakes and then play your league games. I want to see the Notre Dame Miami. I want to see the Georgia versus Clemson non-conference games and all that kind of stuff every now and then. And I'm a college football fan, and I have been my whole life, and I love college football more than anything else. But James Madison and Tulane being in this thing is not right over Notre Dame and Texas, and that's just not. If we want a true event of the best teams, and we want a tournament of the best teams with 12, I don't know the answer. I don't get paid for that, but it's just not right, man. And I know Nick Saban went off, and Nick Saban made some great points. It's not. I mean, Texas went through a freaking war zone, and they played Ohio State out of conference too. And just to have James Madison, I mean, those teams are going to get shredded, man. And I hate to say it, but
they've got almost no chance to win one game, much less get a playoff. They're just they're ornaments at this point. I don't see any disrespect. Like, they're playing by different set of rules. They don't have as much money. I get all of that. There needs to be some sort of championship involved for them.
100%. I'd watch that. If they took the top 8 G5 teams, I promise you I would watch that. They should start the G5.
every coach in the country would watch that because transfer.
Yeah, well, they should start the G5 quarterfinals this weekend. This coming up weekend should be Army Navy at 8 o'clock, and they should have 3 playoff games, quarterfinals, next weekend. And then you could be done by January 1st and have those games. Hell, they play games on Tuesday night during the season. I mean, they got to be a way to reward those teams and get them national exposure and have those kids and have those teams ability to play for something. But James Madison and Tulane have no business being it. Ole Miss boat raced Tulane the first time. James Madison, look, man, I love college football, and those kids are really good players, but this is Notre Dame and Texas, man. I mean, that's two major freaking brands that we could have had in this tournament, and it would have been 12 really good football teams, and every game would have been crazy to watch. And that's what you want at the end of the day.
Notre Dame and Texas would probably be favored by 3 scores over each of those teams. You know, if 14, 15, 16, 17 points, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. And that's kind of what you get to there. I mean, it's I don't have a problem with I mean, the committee painted itself in a hole, and I'll give the committee a little grace here. Miami looked terrible whenever they ranked Miami behind Notre Dame. When it came down to nut cutting time, they did that. I'll tell you with this, though, and I don't want to be super critical of Notre Dame here, but if you're Notre Dame and you don't get into a conference, just go ahead and tell us you care way more about making money than you do winning championships. Because that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, this might be a lesson to them. Like, look, I know you're high and mighty, and you know it's a national brand, but help yourself out, man. Just go to the ACC. Just go to the ACC and get it over with. I mean, just
ACC or Big Ten, I don't care.
Just go and get it over with and help yourself, man.
Country, you're right in the middle of Big Ten country. You
know? That's what Derek 4261 says, that Notre Dame beat the brakes off Tulane and James Madison. If Notre Dame played Tulane in Atlanta next week, it would not be fun to watch. And look, those are good teams, man. I would love to watch Tulane play James Madison. That'd be fun. I mean, hell, I watch Bowling Green play Miami of Ohio. Trust me, I love it. I'm sick. I've got a problem. I'll watch all of it. But I want the best for college football, and that's not the best. And I hate it where we are. I don't know the complete answer right now, but that's just not right, man. And then Georgia's been in that thing in 2023. We talked about it, you know, and all that mess. And they were one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the country. I don't give a damn what kind of ranking you had. If Georgia wasn't the best, they were one of the top 2 or 3 that didn't get in, which was BS. And now we got, you know, teams are having to go through the gauntlet. And, you know, Notre Dame won 10 games in a row by double digits, man.
Yeah.
And they lost 2 games by a combined 4 points early in the year. But not in, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Rusty, I'm going to get ready to go to New Orleans in about 3 weeks. I got some reservations to make. No, we got a lot more going on than that. But listen, this has been an awesome show. We appreciate everybody for watching, for listening. We love you guys. Georgia's going to the Sugar Bowl, play the winner of Ole Miss and Tulane, and it is back-to-back SEC champions. And not only that, you've got the coach, Georgia fans, that everybody in college football would basically push their guy out the door for to hire. And I don't know what else you could want there. Kirby hadn't always been my favorite person. All right. Like he's a tough guy to work with, tough guy to cover, but you've got the best coach in college football. And that was apparent yesterday. Let's see what happens from here on out. I believe this Georgia team can do it. And I know you do too. Stay tuned to the Georgia Show. We'll be back later on in the week. Take it easy.